Dear all, a very good day. Okay, in the previous lecture, we had started studying about NMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, and the NMR we had looked at its basic principle related to magnetic movement, and now in the it is a subsequent lecture of regarding to the present that lecture. In this lecture, we are going to look at other principle related to NMR. Just a brief about NMR. NMR is nuclear magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, it is basically used for detection of fluids and liquids in the human body. Okay, it uses magnetic and radio waves for detection of particles. Now, since every cells of the human body contain neutrons and protons which react to magnetic field and radio waves, therefore based on their reaction the detection is possible through NMR. In the magnetic moment, we have looked at how the magnetic field affects the spin orbitals of the cells, and due to which spin angular frequency is obtained, and which affects the energy, and the complete cell is split into high energy and lower energy. Continuing on with the same, the present in this we are going to study free induction decay as the first topic. Okay, so free induction decay. In NMR at room temperature, there are more protons in the low energy level than in high energy state. The excited proton tends to return to its lower energy state with spontaneous decay and re-emission of energy at later time t in the form of radio wave photons. Okay, so whenever a proton or a neutron is excited with the help of magnetic field or radio waves, it reaches a higher energy state. Then this higher energy state is known as an excited state, and after that, once the excitation is removed, then there's a spontaneous decay because the excited particles wants to come to their ground state or lower energy state. Now as they want to come to the lower energy state, there is spontaneous decay and re-emission of energy. Okay, this re-emission of energy takes a particular time t, and energy is emitted. Okay, so this decay is exponential and it is called free induction decay, FID. So when magnetic field is applied, the energy is very high which has been gained by the electron, and as the magnetic or radio waves are reduced, then slowly and slowly this will come to its resting state after a particular time period, and it will emit energy. Okay, in a different language it can also be expressed as, if in a static field RF waves of right frequency are passed through the sample of interest or tissue, some of the parallel photons will absorb energy and excite it to the higher energy. Some time later, RF energy which was absorbed will be emitted as electromagnetic energy of the same frequency as the RF energy source. So when we apply a static field, RF energy from that field is passed through the tissues, whichever tissue we want to diagnose or test. Okay, so protons in those tissues will absorb the energy and they will raise themselves to a higher energy level. Once in the higher energy level, they will maintain their state as long as the static field is applied. Once the field is removed, okay, so sometime later they will want to come back to their lower energy or their proper energy levels. So when they want to come to the lower energy level, so RF energy which was absorbed is emitted back, and it is emitted back in the form of electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic energy, but it will have the same frequency as the RF source which was applied to excite the particles. Now next comes excitation. If a tissue is subjected to another magnetic field, this would cause the net magnetization to shift slightly from the z-axis through an angle x. Okay, so now this is the excitation frequency. Moment in x and y direction was cancelled, and because of the magnetic field, this was the effect in the protons which they were getting excited. Now at this time, if another magnetic field is applied, so there will be a shift from this axis into a 3D plane, which is shown here through an angle alpha. Now this angle alpha depends upon how much is the magnetization for magnet that has been applied to that axis. Okay, and if magnetization is there proper, then this will also rotate about the z axis with an angular velocity of omega. Okay, so same result would be obtained if an RF pulse or a resonating frequency of protons in the tissue is applied. Okay, so even if instead of magnetic field an RF pulse is applied, so we will get the same results, and alpha will depend upon the length and frequency of the pulse. Now a RF pulse that rotates m0 through 90 degree is referred to as 90 degree RF pulse. That is, if this was the pulse and it was rotated this into 90 degree, that is in the y direction or x direction, then it is known as 90 degree pulse. If it is rotating it through 180 degree, then it is known as 180 degree RF pulse. Okay, then finally emission. Okay, so when an RF pulse is turned off, the net tissue magnetization begins to swing back towards the z direction, and an NMR signal is induced in the receiver coil, which is placed perpendicular to the moving magnetic vector. Okay, so as soon as the excitation, that was the RF pulse of magnetic field, is turned off, so tissue will try to move it towards their original position. Okay, so net magnetization begins to swing backward towards the z direction. So what it was rotating around this, it will try to come back. Okay, so when it after application it was trying to rotate about this axis, so it will try to come back to its z position. Okay, and NMR signal is induced at the receiver coil, which is placed perpendicular to the moving magnet, and at the same time it will emit energy which will be received by the receiver coil, which is placed perpendicular to the moving magnetic vector. Okay, so on the application, this was the state that it has moved to angle m through in an m direction through a particular angle. It is rotating about in different directions, and as the field is increased, it rotates more and more. But once the field has been removed, so its rotation will slightly decrease, and it will decrease, and it will finally come resting at z axis. Okay, so in fact individual magnetic moment begins to dephase with one another, and some rotating at a bit faster, slower than the resonant frequency omega naught. Further, the moment of different momenting individual magnetic moments is not same, and they may be, some are lower and some are higher than the resonating frequency of omega naught. Okay, then finally, simultaneously with dephasing decay process, there is also relaxation of mz component to the pre-existing state of m naught. Okay, it will come back to pre-existing state, and depending upon the applied fields, time can vary, where t1 can be greater less than t2. So resulting signal amplitude in the coil will be A, that is equal to A naught e to the power minus t by t1 into e to the power minus t by t2, where t1 and t2 are the individual times. Okay, so this lecture has covered different basic principles related to NMR. In the next lecture, we will be seeing basic NMR components, what makes up the complete device and how it functions, and so on. Thank you.